Hey, this is Robot here, Vespa Motorsport, scooterwest.com. Today, I'm gonna put a USB jack on this Vespa Primavera. Pretty much the same idea if you're doing on a Sprint. Actually, the same idea if you're doing on any scooters. All pretty much the same thing. Drill a hole, put this little guy in, wire it in, have a nice day. You got instant USB power, charge your phone, or whatever else you wanna charge with one of these things. Pretty simple install. We'll go over the parts and tools needed to install this. A couple basic tools you're gonna need. You're gonna need a power drill. This is a unibit or a step bit. This is quite a large size one, and you'll need that to drill I think it's 1.25 inches or something like that. It's a pretty large hole that you need to drill for this large threaded USB adapter here. This can be obtained from hardware stores or like a Home Depot. Harbor Freight has a really good price on these, and they actually work pretty good. You can remove the glove box. It's going to be a T30. This is a pretty shallow angle ratchet. You're going to need something like this. I also have a T30 on a power driver. And the last tool is some sort of combination cutter, stripper, crimper, whatever. There's fancier tools than this, but this kind of does it all, and it does a pretty good job at it. But you could find something like this that's just as high quality at a Home Depot by like Klein Tools or something. All right, let's jump into pulling this glove box off. Maybe ripping it off. After you see how it's done, it looks like you're going to be ripping it off. You want to pop the glove box open. This is a Primavera. On a Sprint, there's going to be a lot more goodies, or whatever you want to call it, stuff going on the right side, and it's got a slightly different cover, and you'll need a T25 Torx to take that little cover off. First, you want to start with removing these two black caps on the Primavera. In the Sprint, there's only one of these things, and they have a pull tab, and you'll see on the other side, they just pull right off. They're like rubber caps to gain access to the turn signal bulbs if you had the European model. They don't really do anything for the US ones, unless you're putting our European conversion kit on, of course. Then you could get to the bulb if you needed to with these. But behind these two covers, there's going to be screws that we need to gain access to. And I have my power driver here with a T30. You could just use a regular T30 hand driver. You can find the fastener that's back there. Big thing is you don't want to lose this fastener. So what I'm going to do is unscrew it, and I have my finger in there and hold that on there. You can magnetize the tip. You can put a little grease on the tip to hold it. There's other ways to hold the screw in place, but you can see it's got a little magnetism. But I put my hand in there and just held it. And I like using these little rubber caps. They're good little like screw holders there. So do the same on the other side. Identical, and then not the last fastener, I'm kind of jumping to conclusions here. Probably should use a little shorter one. You know what, I will do that. So I got more of a traditional style T30 Torx driver. Get it right in that middle one. And after you get this right side one out, there's two really exciting ones to remove. And they are located in these little wells, both on the left and the right side here. So I got a bit. This is like a T30 quarter drive bit. And you can kind of find your way around. I do have a power ratchet that I use. I might have used it in one of the other videos, but I'm going to show how to do it without that power ratchet. So I kind of have it in the engage, and there you go. So that's how you go about removing that one, or both those lower fasteners. Once I got started, went ahead and pulled it out. And it's in there. You can retrieve it with a magnet if you like, or you can just leave it in there. However you want to get it out. It will fall out when you pull the glove box off. So I get the last fastener off, and we'll show you the next step. All right, so we got all 5 fasteners out. You kind of want to protect the bottom of this glove box, because it's going to want to rub on the plastic of your floorboard. Usually I just use a rag and that's good enough to rest the glove box assembly on. Another way to go about it is, have some masking tape handy and tape it right at this seam here, and it's just to be safe. Don't want to be chipping a brand new paint finish. Not sticking all that well to this paint because it's probably waxed or something, but it's something there, kind of just prevent it, hold the rag in place. Now here comes the fun part. You see all the screws are out, but this glove box is on here quite tight. And pretty much I just put my hands in these holes and pull it straight out. And I think there's 6 different clips. You want to pull straight out. So this side's out. And you can get your hand in here and pull straight out. You hear that little noise? That was one of those clips that just dropped into here. Before I even get the glove box off, that's what that clip looks like. And there's 6 of those. If you lose the clips in the frames, it's not the end of the world if you lose one down there. It's not going to do anything. Just sit down there. You could take the whole floorboard apart or try to retrieve it with a magnet. The other thing is they don't cost hardly anything. We have those available. I don't quite remember the part numbers, like 1A with a whole bunch of numbers, real long part number. We'll tag it in the video. But pretty much the rest of the glove box is retained with these clips. So once you go past all those clips, it's going to want to pull away. I'll go ahead and latch the glove box for a second. Make sure you don't drag this upper part, from the across the bottom of the thing. First thing you got to disconnect is this electro connector, only found on the 150s and 125s. It's the seat pop connector. Next thing, it popped out on its own, but there's a fuse holder here, and this little tab right here, I don't know if you can see it, they don't always hold all that well, but it retains it, and if you just get your finger under it, it will release the fuse holder. So there's the fuse holder bobbing around. And on the Sprints, there's also going to be a relay attached to it, the headlight relay actually. And you could go ahead and disconnect that with the 1 screw. Last thing you have connected, and oftentimes I don't bother disconnecting this if I don't need to pull the glove box away. This is your mechanical seat pop cable. I'm going to go ahead and open the glove box again. And since I closed it, you could just access this little tab right here and click that, and it will pop the glove box right open. So remove this, you can see there's a little cable in there. You'll need a little needle nose to pull the cable out and dislocate that cable from this lever here and pull it from pull the cable out very carefully. Like I said, this is probably the most difficult part of the remove from this glove box. I'm just going to leave it alone for now. It's not going to be affect anything, and I can keep the glove box pretty close to the scooter when I'm going to do the next things I'm going to do for this project here. So our USB jack, there's 2 ideal locations to put this on the Sprint or Primavera. Right on the left side, it's quite hollow. There's not much going on behind there. And you could drill a hole right below where this VIN number plate is, right in the center, right there. But I'm going for a cleaner installation where it's going to be hidden. So where I'm going to put it is, well, I'll start from here. It's going to be up in there, pointing down. So it's going to be a little bit harder to connect, but you can you could still hook it up with and snake a cable through the door. You do not want to put it right here because the back of the USB jack sticks out a good 30 millimeters, 1.5 inches, something like that, and it will bump into the bodywork. So right here I'm going to drill a hole. You want to avoid this area where this lever is. Just start with a hole right here and put a rag on the ground since I left the control cable hooked up. If you're unfamiliar with drilling, you might want to drill a small pilot hole, but I think I'll be okay. And go slow with these bits because they'll tend to want to burn the plastic. Get some of the shavings out of there. This drill sounding pretty pathetic. And right now it's a pretty tight fit. I'm gonna leave it that way. Kind of is a little better if it's tight. So I could go a little bit larger with the drill if I wanted to. Another option is you can clean up the burrs with a razor blade, or there's actually a special tool for doing that, but won't go into that today. Got the USB jack. It's got the rubber little plug doohickey. And you want to unthread the bushing, but leave the rubber plug behind. So I'm going to go leave the rubber plug oriented like this, so the jacks will face like such. So go ahead and pop it through. And it's pretty nice to have it a tight fit like that. So it's, you know, less likely to have issues. So have that, go ahead and spin the plastic nut on there. To tighten this style nut, it's got little teeth on there, and you can engage it with a flat bladed screwdriver and just tap it with something lightweight. You don't need to go to town. That's all you need to do to have that installed. Pretty simple there. So I have my length of 20 gauge wire. This is all you need. You don't need to get really thick wiring. You know, it draws such little current that you don't need thick wire for this. So go ahead and strip the end, the appropriate strippers, and install one of these terminals. So do this with both your black and your red wire. You know, just on one end, you know, go ahead and crimp the terminal and make sure you have a tight mechanical fit. You know, that's pretty tight now. So I have my two terminals crimped, one end of each of the red and the black wire. Essentially, the outlet's going to reside right here, and I'm going to tap into these running light wires. These running light wires are the ideal circuit to tap into. They're protected by their own fuse. They're only powered when the ignition's on. And since this USB jack draws such little current, it's not going to affect the circuit. You know, and these are pretty thin wires. They might be even 22 gauge wires, but you have those two wires right there. You got the yellow with the black, and that's going to be your positive. And that, like I said, it only is live when the ignition is switched on. You got black, which you find in other parts of the harness everywhere else, and that's just your ground. And that's going to be the same. I'm going to tap the red to the yellow with white, the yellow with the black stripe. And on other models, you'll find this identical colors, other model Vespas, that is. So if you're installing this on, you know, other makes, you know, it's going to be different colors for the wire that's going to be live when the ignition's turned on. You can also use a voltmeter to try to find a circuit that's live whenever you have the ignition on. And again, this USB jack, at the very most, it draws just under 2 amps, so it's very little draw. And that's if you had two phones charging on it. You know, I don't think anybody would ever be in that scenario with this kind of USB jack. The length isn't too critical because there's room to have this tuck in here, but it's nice to have the extra length so you can pull the glove box off. If you have it too tight, it's going to be very difficult to connect. I cut, I don't know what that is, 15 inches, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and feed the pair of wires through. Right there, and they're definitely too long, so I'll go ahead and shorten those. You have the red and the black. The red goes to your positive, so you're going to see a little plus. You can go ahead and push the quick connects right on, and the minus is going to be your black. And one thing to keep in mind, if you do mess this up, it will not burn that up. It just won't work if it's the terminals are switched around. So next, I'm going to leave about 2 inches of the wires exposed on the end of my tubing. I'm going to go ahead and strip 1/4 inch, maybe 6 millimeters of wire. Go ahead and twist them. And on my posi tap connection, I'm going to go ahead and open up the red side of the connection. And this little ferrule drops right onto the wire. And you kind of jam the wire in there and thread this on. Again, with all electrical mechanical connections, you want to check to make sure you have a tight connection before you just put it all back together. So do the same here. pull the ferrule off, put the wire in there. You can see it has like the silver connection or whatever you call it. Don't get my glove in there. I don't know why I'm still wearing gloves, but I still have them on. There you go. Now they're ready to tap into these wires right here. And you can unhook this just temporarily if you like to make it. This is on your running light right here. And it doesn't matter if you have the European conversion kit. And start with the black, because that's easy, black to black. So unscrew the gray ferrule, straddle the wire, and I tend to give this kind of an unwind to it because you're going to wind this in. So the black, if you saw what I was doing, I was kind of unwinding it, now I'm winding it on, and now it made an electrical connection. So. And do the same here on the yellow with the black stripe. Unwind this a couple turns, and then go ahead and wind it right onto that little gray ferrule. And that makes a nice positive, sealed, safe low current connection. It's ideal for a solution like this. There's many times you wouldn't want to use something like that, but it works quite ideal for this. Before I button the glove box off, I always want to check it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the key in. Safe to go ahead and turn it on. And nice and easy to see this while I have the glove box off, shavings and all. But you can see it's got a nice little blue light. The kind of cool thing about that is when you're riding at night, it actually lights up the glove box. So you can see the little cover's open and there's like a blue kind of like a mood lighting in there. And that just indicates the USB jack's powered. And you just go ahead and plug your USB right into that, or up to 2 of them, and you're good. If you don't want to see the light, there's the little rubber cap. Say if you install it on the outside of the scooter, it may be ideal to use the rubber cap, keep moisture out of the connection, but it also shades the light so you don't see that in there. So we're going to go ahead and pop the glove box on. The 6 clips that were difficult to overcome when you pull the glove box off, you can see they're all there. We had the one that luckily fell right inside the glove box, and I got that right there. Give it a good little squeeze, and if you got to replace them, they just snap right on. They kind of center, and they just snap in place. So you kind of heard that snap, and that does the trick right there. Before you put the glove box on, a couple things you got to keep in mind. You got to make sure you do the connection. That's always a rookie move, is you forget to hook up the seat pop. Double check it. You hear the motor actuator right in there. I have the rag down to kind of rest the glove box on. I'm going to go ahead and put the fuse holder back in place. Right here, I don't know if Scott can get this, but there's this little doohickey. That one's a flop. See how it was flopped up? You got to flop that down like that. So it's flopped up right now. Make sure that thing is flopped down. It's very critical. Otherwise, the glove box won't open. It's a pain in the butt to get these things back apart. You have to take the front all apart. And next, you want to tuck all your wiring in. Make sure nothing gets pinched between this edge. There's little clips that hold some of the wiring in place. You use additional zip ties if you like. Get that in there. So pretty much I'm ready to pop this in place. So that thing's in the right place. I'm going to put my finger on this little lever, and you kind of just carefully guide the glove box up. Especially I'm looking just at the top. And take care not to grind this. I can't stand it if I saw scratches right there. Look down, that would piss me off so much. Just not into that. So kind of get it up here, and this is where you got to get medieval on it a little bit. So I kind of have it all pretty close to the edge. See how I just punched it? And that's pretty much what you need to do to get that thing snapped into place. And once you get a couple of them snapped, you're pretty good. And you see my rag's a little bit caught in there, and that's okay because the rag kind of protects the edge. So sometimes this edge right here is not, and you just give it a little punch up, and it kind of gets this all pop into place. All right, so you make sure all these seams look like they did when they came off. It's pretty normal to have a couple little waves in it. That's just normal, but you don't want any big gaps. That means those gripper clips didn't snap into place. And you need to give it a a firm and swift little, whatever you want to call it, hit with your fist to do it. I'm going to put this screw in first. So I got that one in place. And this is what you want to check before you put the glove box on. Make sure that works. If that lever's not going down, you're going to take the glove box off, try again. And then I'll go ahead and put these ones, either with a magnetic tip or I'm using my fingers to carefully hold the screw in place. Careful not to drop it down there. Got that one. And I'll do the same on the right side. And the last ones, I'll just kind of get them in a bit and just kind of feel my way around in there. Get them in. And then go ahead and hand tighten them. Then come back in here with your ratchet. And you got to remember, these things are holding a plastic glove box on, so nothing's going to be that tight, you know. Just snug it in there, and that's all you need to do. So, last thing you want to do whenever you touch something to this caliper is make sure everything works. You know, push your button, make sure your seat pops. Do the same with the mechanical. You never know when the battery's going to be dead. So double check all those. Double check the glove box a couple times, make sure that works perfect. Everything's working. I'd check all the electrical if you mess with any of the connections in there. Then you can just go ahead and pop these little plastic plugs in there. For all you techno geeks, got to have multiple devices charging while you're rolling down the road. Here you go. Plug them in. Signing out, this is a robot here. VespaMotorsport.com, Scooter West. Have a good day.